So what is up, guys? You got your boy Jet Stinger here today, and today we're back with some reverse 1999 here today, and today we're gonna be making a team building guide, kind of give you guys the basics based off of my experience and the conversations I've had with CN players. A lot of CN players have given me advice about how to effectively build teams, about how they go about it in the end game content. So that's really gonna be the whole purpose of this video. I'm gonna give you guys kind of like some recommended things you can do with certain units and stuff like that. And I'm just gonna give you guys a little bit of a basic. So if you guys enjoy this video, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Makes me very happy that people are checking in the content. So anyway, let's go ahead and let's get started with this team building guide. So first things first is, how does team building work in reverse 1999? So reverse 1999, most of the time, right? Most of the time, I've seen teams go anywhere from 1 to 2 DPSs, 1 support, 1 healer. Now the flex spot can be basically anything that you want. It could either be another support if you feel like you need it, and it could be another healer if you feel like your healer isn't quote unquote up to the task. There are certain missions where you don't want your characters to die, so that means the 3 that you have to take is going to be traditionally what you need. So probably a 1-1-1, like a 1 DPS, 1 healer, 1 support would probably be the best, depending on the type of content that's ahead. Now, currently in the game right now, in Reverse 1999, since we're in a very baby stage of the game's only out for not even a week yet, like 5 days, 6 days now at this point. We don't really need the super build just yet. Now, of course, that's going to be slower because Reverse 1999 is a patience game. It's not a game that you can just grind. Even if you want to, for example, spam AP refreshes, which I don't recommend you do anyway, it's still going to take you some time before you can actually build up a team to I3 level 60. So I think the general first thing you should want to do is try to get your team to at least I2 level 50, and then slowly start working your way up to I3 level, maybe like 30, maybe like 40. I don't know the direct in-game levels of where you should be at the moment. I've seen some people say you should be I3 level like 20 and then be fine, but it really just depends on the team and the structure itself. I've seen some people even just clear out the most highest in-game content at I2 level 50. So I mean, I think it just really just depends on the type of team that you have and the type of team that you could run for. So anyway, I'm gonna kind of bring up my party of units right now from what I've pulled based on this account. I did spend a tiny bit. I didn't really go super crazy. I did use most of my free pulls on pulling on the standard banner because I wanted other outside choices other than a knight. I didn't want a knight because he actually is pretty good. But I'm gonna talk about the key role of what you should run. Now, the key role is always this. The key role is going to be the carry, which we recommend as we call the DPS. So the main carry should always be the unit that is strongest against the current content. Now, as we stand right now, that does not mean you start building up all your DPSs to I2 level 50, because that'll take a minute for sure. Just maybe slow build up one team first, then kind of shift your way over to building like other DPSs or other supports of anything that you feel validated for your account. That's just going to be a patience thing. As I said before, this is a marathon, not a race. So it's something that's going to be more and more progression as you play through the game. As you do your dailies every single day, and you want to choose to grind up, materials for your character, then that's what you're going to be doing. That's why I've already started building up my Centurion, because most of my main team is ready to go. I'm ready to use it optimally in most forms of content. So there's that. Anywho, so let's say, what's my carry gonna be? Well, first things first, you have to identify the content that it's strongest against. So if I'm going against a content where the main enemies are beast, that means I'm gonna want to take a mineral unit, because mineral has a strong affinity against beast. So that means, oh, I have my carry in Eternity. Eternity is a character that you can get from the 30 character beginner draw. So she is a pretty decent chance. She is a 1 of 3 chance to get. So you can actually get Eternity pretty luckily if you are able to get her off of a 30% chance after your 30th summon. So if you want to get her, again, that's completely up to you. If you've already pulled your 30, let me know in the comment section, by the way, who did you get? Because she was who I got. I didn't re-roll for her. I was happy enough to get her because I do think she was a pretty cool character. But anyway, so First things first is when you look at a character, you have to make sure you understand what the kit is. So Eternity is a character that deals DPS and has a unique gimmick where she loses 10% of her HP when casting her regular skill. So this right here, as you can see, the caster will suffer a 10% HP loss per use of the skill. It does not matter what rarity that she uses on, because, well, it's just kind of the gimmick. So, and yeah. This is also a match HP attack that also takes a little bit more of her away too. So the one thing about Eternity is, well, she's losing a lot of HP. She's losing a lot of HP. So the best thing though about Eternity is she is pretty self-sufficient in its own way, because she does have a heal built into her ultimate, which is basically a leech. A leech is basically whatever damage you deal, and the more damage that you do deal to the mass attack of enemies, she heals a proportionate amount of that based on the ultimate, which is 50%, right? Which is pretty good. That means she can be consistent and heal herself. However, there are optimal times where you are not able to heal because you don't have enough cards for Eternity. So that means you would have to probably run something to help with that. And what we would have to do is look for someone who we call a dedicated healer, because, well, Eternity would need it and otherwise to stay fully consistent. So a good prime example would be someone like Balloon Party or Medicine Pocket or Dilk, who you can get for free on the 8th day of logging in. I would say Balloon Party is probably the better one. Medicine Pocket is the top one, I believe, but Dilk is the bottom. Bottom is because Dilk doesn't heal as strong, but he heals decently enough, especially if you're using him in Beast Week content. Then he would actually be a little bit of a good choice there, but that's only if you're fighting plants or something, which is there. But anyway, she is also a mineral character, which also enjoys the extra bonus damage in that situation that we talked about earlier. Again, you don't have to run her for the extra damage bonus. You're running her because she's going to be the healer, which she can heal via her ult, and she can heal via her skill card right here. So this skill card can heal, and it can also give her party balloons, which basically is a counter effect. Basically, whenever the enemy hits you, they take a little bit of proportional damage. This is where most of Balloon Party's damage comes from, because Balloon Party is not a DPS at all. She's fairly weak, but you run her around just for the sake of healing. So there's that as well. Now we have to figure out what type of DPS is Eternity. What type of DPS does she deal between one of these two things right here? You see reality, and we have mental. That is the main DPS type between most units. So if you look through her skill cards, you will see right here that it says she has a reality damage effect. So that means you would typically want to bring a support or some other unit that can really help with bolstering the effects of reality damage. Thankfully, there's a lot of supports in the game that can function on both ends, so you do not have to worry about one being specific towards the other. If you're looking for lower rarity, then that's where it's going to be more so for the reality effect. So for example, right, for support, a good prime example of a good support for reality would be someone not like him, but someone like Beacorn. Now, Bloom is really good for this because she has a debuff effect that can lower reality damage reality defense and damage taken plus 25%. That's really good. And this is a mass debuff too, meaning that it can hit all enemies for a debuff of reality damage, which is what is good for Eternity, making her hit harder, which is good. Now there are also supports that you could run that are more so like generally just for the party in general. For example, Anali is a prime example of a support that does this for everybody, because it's 30% damage boost and 30% damage reduction for two turns. This is the same thing that that Sanino does have with her buff card as well. So, and she also has 50% penetration for herself, but she does have this same effect as well, where she gets damage boost and she gives damage boost and damage mitigation. So it's again something that works for the normal team for support. But if you really wanted to capitalize on that damage, Beacorn would be a good choice because, well, that's a double debuff. It's a damage plus effect and a boost built around the reality damage that Eternity is doing, making it a little bit more of a potent debuff. And yeah, so And when if we take a look at Balloon Party, I think she also deals reality damage too. Actually making Balloon Party just hit just a tiny bit harder. Again, she's not going to be really your DPS. Most of her DPS really comes from the party balloons itself. But there's that. So there's just really simple things there. One of the best things I can actually say about supports and healers is they fill a variety of team slots. It's not like you have to ever run one support only for just one team. The really good thing is, since these debuffs, like for example, if we go back to Bicorn, is since her debuffs are so like for one specific like team or one specific like situation here. For example, see right here, it's 25% for all enemies in its reality, right? So that means any unit that we could build around that also uses the reality damage, that's a reason you could bring Bicorn. Like, that's such a good thing about these units is these units have the ability to be used in a lot of teams. They're kind of known as the free spots. Most of the time when you're building up your teams, if you can build up just a few good supports and then slowly start building your way up to your carries, like for example, if I wanted to build Centurion, which is what I'm doing right now, right? As I can see right here, look at that. Another character that does reality damage. I could run the exact same team that I just mentioned with Bicorn and a Balloon Party in this very unit right here, her being the main carry this time around. That's the really cool thing about the supports and how they're built around the game. I'm so glad they're not like specifically for like one type. For example, if it was like a unit that only dealt mineral debuff, then I mean, yeah, that would be a little bit of a less slot, but a lot of our supports are generally for, you know, whole party purposes. They're for multitudes of parties. The only time where this becomes a little bit of an issue is when you're doing limbo, because limbo you want more units built, but that is again more so in the game. But if you're looking for just a beginning game, then you want to just kind of build yourself around one good carry, which is, again, we just talked about it being Eternity. Centurion's one, a Knight is another. Lily is technically a good carry, but she only shines way later in the game. So if you wanted one Lilia for carry, then I would just say go A3. Then yeah, that's what she really gets a good carry. But if you have Charlie, she's a good carry for Star as well. If you do have her up to Portrait 3, she does need Portrait 3 to be a solid carry. But there's that. So that's generally the rule of thumb about running these type of things. So if you ever really wanted to just kind of build a team just basically built around that, then that's the easiest way that I recommend that you go about building your team, because that is going to give you the most longitude for your progression for the account. Is I recommend you build up a character that is going to be your main carry, two good units that can kind of fit in most teams. Like Anna Lee fits pretty much in any team. She fits in pretty much in any team, especially since certain units do like to have like more specific cases. For example, Lilia is a certain case unit where she likes to take more actions, and that can be a little bit of a case where you can build around certain units around her. For example, like the 6-star star support Voyager is a good example of being a AP friendly unit, which is what Anna Lee is. Anna Lee is an AP friendly unit because she has a built-in mechanic where she can upgrade her own cards, which is a big boost because you can link up into a level 3 card pretty consistently with her, and her ult also gives her the empower to randomly boost up a card. So that's really good. So for example, you could get really lucky when she's in exorcism mode, which is her mode where she buffs up a card. It's usually the furthest most right card, and then the incantation effect of her ult can give that card yet another +1, then giving you an effective +3, which is extremely AP friendly because you don't have to go about building a second card to fuse into another second card to get the level 3 if you really needed that level 3 boost. You can even use this the way is to build up to a level 3 to get a day status for a single target enemy, which can really help controlling damage on your team. So that is why I do like Anna Lee on my team for right now, because it's a really good free buff that I do tend to use with her. But that's gonna generally be it for the team building guide. So I do recommend, again, for the last TLDR of this, is build up your carries first, because that way when you have your first team done, like make your first team first, then build up your carries. So my first team's done. I have Eternity, Anali, and Balloon Party as my team. Now of course I will go back and build other supports as I go on through the game, and as I go on I'm gonna just see who works with who. That way I can get a little more of a flex choice, especially when I'm doing things like Limbo, because Limbo, that's where you're gonna really want most of your team modes for most of the currency that you can get from that mode. But that's more so again end game, and that's going to be something that I'm going to have to do a little bit more of a slower pace, because that's just how it is with Reverse 1999. This is not a game that you can just throw an abundance of money at it and have the resources to, you know, just raise up your units. Even if you buy some of the packs, even if you buy some of the packs here, like let me see, like stuff like this, like these rookie packs and stuff, even for like the currency and all that. Even if you wanted to buy these, right, just for the extra like farm material and all this stuff like this right here, which could be a really good way of getting you some dust and some metals without you having to run the stages. You can even use this to get like some, you know, materials to kind of help out. But you still are gonna run into a situation where you are gonna be needing to wait some time. And if you are looking to do this just by free to play, this is if you want to build a character up to I3 level 60. If you're doing this by free to play, I hear it takes a maximum up to 3 weeks. So this is if you are just not refreshing at all. Currently we do have the whole campaign where we can get 7 free energy. So if you hold on to that, you can really get a lot done for a character. So there's that. But if there's no campaigns where we're not getting any passive energy and we're just waiting on natural stamina refill, and we're kind of just banking on our levels, then yeah, it does take quite a bit of time. This is where you can also use your wilderness as a bonus to kind of get a little bit extra currency in there, just so you can build up from there. But that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys did enjoy this Reverse 1999 video. I hope to see you guys more in Reverse 1999 content, because I'm actually having a lot of fun with this game so far. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.